Okay, so I'm here with Brian O'Halloran from Clerks fame, and so let's maybe start with Clerks.
Sure.
Well, there's a lot of hockey talk, right?
Of course. Well, we're all big hockey fans.
So why don't you tell us your favorite team and some stories about your hockey stories?
Well, my favorite team is the New York Rangers, who at the taping of this interview, yes, it was a rough day yesterday. We were eliminated by the Penguins, and some people say from the original Clerks, well, you wore a Penguins jersey during the hockey scene on the roof. And at the time in '93, I was living with a bunch of friends on the campus of Rutgers University, and so I lived in a house. My jersey was back at my mother's, because I could do laundry there, and I couldn't find it the day we were shooting up on the roof. So I had to get down to the store because I lived an hour away from where we were shooting. Drove down there, didn't have the jersey. Kevin's like, "Did you bring your jersey?" I'm like, "I totally forgot." He goes, "Well, I have these two jerseys for you." I'm like, "It's the Devils or the Pens." I was like, "Oh, what about the Russian jersey?" He goes, "No, that's for Randall." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I took the Pens because I was like, "The hell with the Devils, man." I respected Mario Lemieux at the time was the big player for them. I was like, I respect their game more than I do the Devils. So that's why I wear the Penguins. But I'm a Ranger fan through and through. I've been a regular. I share season tickets with a guy for the past 5 seasons, and I grew up in the Bronx till the age of 10 in New York City, so that's why I became a New York Ranger fan. Because people are like, "But you live in Jersey for all those years." I'm like, "Yeah, but I was a Ranger fan before Jersey even had a team."
So I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. Do you have any memories of maybe a game or maybe that series where you won in the semis?
Yeah, well, the whole Price injury when Kreider slid into him, it was a bad thing because I knew fans would be like, "Oh, well, if Price was not injured." So it was like, well, it gave them an excuse why to get out of the fact that we beat them. The fact that was a bad break, literally, for both teams in a way. I mean, obviously the Rangers went on, but didn't finish the task which they were supposed to do. But it's the Canadiens have always been a great team. I mean, growing up as a young man and in the whole Guy Lafleur era and stuff like that, and my older brothers and my father turned like the Canadiens. It's serious stuff up there. They are a heritage of hockey. If there's a team to emulate the heritage of hockey, it was the Canadiens. And then with the Rangers, we had our issues with like Boston and the Flyers. It was more of a boxing match than it was a hockey game at times. And so when you do the original 6 teams, I always have respect for all original 6. So when it gets to the playoffs, I always root for, at first, besides the Rangers, of course, would be an original 6 team. And it's weird now seeing that, the Flyers, the Wings are out, we are out, Boston's out. It's
Montreal, Toronto.
Right. The Blackhawks are out. So it's weird not seeing that, no Canadian team since 70, and now no original 6 left. It's kind of weird in a sense. But, we'll see. I've moved on now to baseball, so let's go Mets. So that's my hockey and sports story.
Now let's go with Kevin Smith, obviously, famous director.
Absolutely.
Maybe give us an insight as to how he works or what it's like on set with him.
Well, what's great about Kevin, which you don't find with most film directors, is he kind of wants to have a rehearsal process. So even with the original Clerks, we rehearsed for a whole month in the store itself just to get his dialogue down. He's very particular about his dialogue and his writing, and he wants the word said. There's no real improv involved with his type of filming, but yet at the same time it's a relaxed atmosphere because his dialogue, he writes so naturalistic that it's easy as an actor to get what he's getting and get it out smoothly. Is he very verbose, and does he bring in some very eloquent words and very, absolutely. He uses all the vocabulary words that were on your vocabulary test in high school. He made sure to use all 10 or 15 that were on the test. That's the type of guy he is. But in a very funny way, in a very poignant way at times as well. So that's the great thing about working with Kevin, is he trusts and enjoys the rehearsal process.
Very interesting. Now on to the final question. The film that's influenced you.
There are so many from many different eras. I'm a big Spike Lee fan, so Do the Right Thing was a really impactful film. I always liked George C. Scott and Patton as far as a character piece, to watch someone take such a famous and yet troubled and flawed individual, but yet still a hero to the nation through all the things, the trials and tribulations he went through when going into war and at the end of World War II. Other films I really enjoy, The Maltese Falcon was a great one. Obviously, Star Wars made a gigantic, not impact me as an actor, but it's just as a human being, because I was 7 in 1977, and so when that film came out, it was just like, oh, I remember telling my 2 older brothers, like, hey, when I drive a car, it's going to be a land speeder. Still waiting for that land speeder there, and my flying car, for those fans who know what I'm talking about.
You know Joe Kramer? He's the composer for the new Mission Impossible and Jack Reacher.
Oh, okay, right on.
He's really good friends with what's his name? The guy who wrote Mission Impossible 5 and The Usual Suspects, and I'm drawing a blank on his name anyway. So that was his favorite movie, basically for the same reason. You know, it blew his mind when he was 7, 8 years old in the theater.
That was my whole world at that point. Everything was Star Wars. Drove my mother crazy. My whole family's from Ireland except me, so we'd be in, you know, Woolworths or Corvettes or whatever in the Bronx, and I'd be like, I want this, I want that. She's like, stop with the stupid toys from space and blah, blah, blah. That's what she called it, Space Wars. She would always mispronounce it. She was cute. But yeah, I mean, as you can see to this day, it's films like that or the TV, you know, the Star Trek TV series that influenced millions of kids to take an interest in science and science fiction in general, and has spawned cons. I mean, if it wasn't for Star Trek and Trek cons out in California that started this whole business of conventions like this, you know, we would still be huddled in our little basements going like, I don't want to tell people what I do, you know, being a nerd, you know what I mean? But I was a kid who also then role played D&D. That was another thing that influenced me, and to this day, and video gaming. So it's that kind of generation that these type of cons I always have a blast with. And so films like Star Wars or Patton or these other movies I've mentioned are really a cross-access to what me growing up now in my mid-40s, had around me.
Now, Do the Right Thing. Right away, I think of that scene. You know, he's got the love-hate on his hands. Have you ever seen
Radio Raheem, bro?
Have you ever seen Night of the Hunter? Night of the Hunter is an old film with Shelley Winters and Robert Mitchum.
Oh, yeah.
And that's actually where it came from, because he's got love-hate tattooed on his fingers,
as opposed to the ring fingers.
So it's very interesting to see those homages through time.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
You know, there's that scene in Chasing Amy where they're in the lesbian bar and they're talking about injuries, and it's the exact same scene from Jaws where they're on the boat talking about, oh, you want to break my heart, you know, Mary Moffat, you know. It's that type of filmmakers, other filmmakers really, you know, they're really great filmmakers when they do that little inside kind of either angles of how they film things or just kind of scenes that kind of mimic or kind of parody great films that they enjoy. Jaws, another film, we just brought another film. Jaws, another film that terrorized me as a child, and my brothers tormented me with, because we would go to, when we were living in New York, we would go to Jones Beach, this large beach on Long Island, wherever, and my one brother was a bit of a, you know, ball breaker and clown. He went to the novelty store and bought those severed rubber hands, and we would go to the beach, he'd bring like 4 of them, and swim out, and then just let one go, and obviously it's plastic, so it would just float. This is the year when when Jaws breaks out. And so girls were out like, oh my God! It's like, because there's a floating hand.
Of course.
And
everyone had seen the film.
Everybody was scared to go in the water. And so it's those type of things that you'll never forget. So.
Well, thank you so much for this. That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, I've got an original poster